Hey YouTube, it's Iron Castile here, and I just wanted to make a quick video I've actually been working on for a while about minimum wage. It's actually one of the hottest debates in the news today, and there's two sides. The elite says that there should be no minimum wage, that it places an unfair burden on employers, and then the workers say that it is intended to be a livable wage, and the current level of pay is a starvation wage. So, how do we tell what side's right? Well, we can take a look at the president who signed minimum wage into law, which was Franklin Delano Roosevelt, FDR, and he has a quote from when he signed the bill into law. No business which depends for existence on paying less than living wages to its workers has any right to continue in this country. I think that's pretty clear of the president's intent of the minimum wage law is that it was intended for people to be able to live on, be a sustainable wage um, for people to survive. Um, the conservative side has a few typical responses. The current minimum wage is sufficient. However, U.S. Census data shows 1/3 of Americans, over 100 million people, are either in poverty or near poverty on minimum wage. CEOs in corporations are getting rich off the backs of Americans. Walmart is one of the worst offenders, with over half its workers receiving aid from the government in one form or another. Meanwhile, the corporation is bringing in record profits for its shareholders. That is pretty huge. I mean, Walmart is a huge corporation worldwide. They don't only have stores in the United States, but they have stores in the UK, Canada, Mexico. They're starting to move down in South America. Of course, in the UK, they're known by a different name. I want to say it's Tesco or something like that. But I mean, they're huge. They could definitely afford to pay their workers a living wage. They are the richest, the Waltons, who own Walmart and created it. Um, they're the richest family in the United States. I'm pretty sure they can afford to pay their workers a living wage. The other common thing that conservatives say is if you don't like your job's pay, go to college and learn to get a better job or even a career. Well, there's a few problems to that. College is expensive, and the federal government only pays for about a third of the cost of going to school. Textbook prices have gone sky high, and some estimates say that the prices have increased as much as 600% since the 1970s. Students are graduating with enormous amounts of debt, and sometimes that debt is $30,000 or more. That's going to take that student over half a lifetime or more to pay back. Um, and the point is, college is expensive and barely affordable and feasible for those that attempt it. There's far more people who aren't able to complete it because it takes so much time. I mean, college is a commitment. Um, the government will only pay for you to go to school or help you pay for to go to school if you go at least half time, which at my school is 6 credit hours, which is two classes that meet twice a week for about an hour and a half a day. So that's 6 hours a week that you have to take out of your schedule, and then on top of that you have to take 3 hours for each class. um, so that's 12 hours a week to study, and also, do homework and stuff, and work. You have to work you have to have a place to stay. You have to have food, transportation to get back and forth to school, um, money to live off of, pay bills and rent and things like that. So for everyone, college isn't a perfect answer because not everyone has the tools um, and safety net that's required for people to go to school. Uh, if you don't make enough money, work 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet is one I've heard. It's actually been said to me. But are you ready for the real mind bender? Here's some cold hard facts. There are 168 hours in a week, 98 hours left over after you remove the recommended 10 hours for sleep a night. That's about 100 hours a week left to do anything besides sleep. A 40-hour work week is $322 a week at the $8.05 current minimum wage gross, meaning that that person can make $322 a week before taxes and deductions. They don't actually get that. However, most businesses work their employees between 20 to 32 hours a week to avoid having to give their employees federal and state mandated benefits guaranteed to full-time workers. This means the average employee makes between 161 to 257.60 a week before taxes are paid. That means 644 to 1030.40 a month for that individual to live off of. Now the painful part. Where's that money expected to go? Average monthly rent for a single person in my area, which is Central Florida, is about $400. The average electric bill, $125. The average food budget for one person, being modest, this is like not extravagant basic necessities, it's about another $100. What does that person have left? Well, for the person that works only 20 hours a week, they have $19 to live off of for the rest of the month. Remember, we haven't included car insurance, a car payment, maintenance on a car, clothes, or anything like that. We've just covered shelter and food with that estimate for that person. For the person who works 32 hours a week, they have about $405.40 left over to live off of for the rest of the month. That's pretty good. But remember, both of those numbers are before our individual has paid any taxes or had any mandatory deductions taken from their paycheck. It also doesn't account for a car payment, like I said, car insurance, or even medical insurance. That's a hot topic in, the political spectrum right now. All considered needs in our modern American society, and the person hasn't been able to pay for them yet. So, what do our individuals have left hours-wise? Well, the 20-hour-a-week person has 78 hours left, down to the 32-hour person who has 66 hours left, or someone lucky enough to work 40 hours a week who only has 58 hours left out of their day. The daily hours left are as follows. 20 hours per week have 11 and a quarter hours per day. The 32-hour person per week has 9 and 3/4 hours a day, and the 40-hour a week person has 8 hours per day to spend on things that they want, like spending time with their family or going to school. Hey, out of that 8 hours per day for that 40-hour a week person, if they're wanting to better themselves, college just took 3 hours of that away. So that's something that we have to consider. We can't always just look at numbers. We have to kind of manipulate them into real life scenarios and see how they actually fit in. We can't just take things at face value. And remember, this person has only worked one job, and they may or may not have a family or children to take care of, and they're not capable of working another 2 or 3 jobs without compromising sleep time or the little bit of free time that they have left to work, which, to be honest, that 8 hours a day is probably not being used as free time. It's running errands, hanging out with friends, maybe. Most of the time they're spending it doing stuff that they have to do, like taking care of their house or taking care of their car, and it gets harder because they don't have the money to do that kind of stuff. So let's get to some of the cold hard facts. Our current minimum wage is a starvation wage. If minimum wage had kept pace with inflation, it would be about $26 an hour today. The middle class is slowly disappearing, and in the last 6 years alone, almost all of the income increase in the United States went to the top 1% of the population of Americans, while the rest of Americans actually saw their incomes decrease. Trickle-down economics only work in a perfect world where everyone would share what they have made. But the truth is, because of corporate and human greed, the benefits will never trickle down to the backbone of America, her labor force. Don't be a sheeple. Don't take my research at face value. Go look and research some yourself. You'd be surprised at how much the elite and corporate America are trying to hide from you, and an informed citizen is a good citizen. Peace.